Friday, 10 a.m. here in Europe. So it's time again for Satoshi Secrets. And as always, I'm joined by the man, the myth, the Nordic legend, trading at least. Jonathan, how are you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm doing good. How are you? How are you, Dirk?
I'm also doing very well. Has been a very busy week. So busy, actually, that I didn't get around to publish a new video on my channel. So this is the first time with new content actually since our last live stream last week. Yeah, I've been very busy with obviously my indicator to tweak some stuff there to do some automation things to it also, which I'm going to talk a little bit about later also. Obviously, today we want to talk about how, what signals we got, what good signals, what bad signals from our indicators. When I say our indicators, I'm talking about the RLZ slingshot indicator from Jonathan. You'll find a link in the description, of course, for that indicator, as well as my market equilibrium indicator, where we are in the final stages at the moment of the open beta test. The open beta test still running until tomorrow. So if you want to hop on and have a look for totally free how that indicator is working, check out the description of this video. As I said, today, tomorrow, still available for free. After that, it will have a price tag, but I'm going to give a huge discount for everybody, of course, that participated in the beta test. Yeah, okay. You want me to start? You want to start?
Sure. No, you can start. Go ahead. I'm just sending out some links to the live stream here.
That is good. Yeah, if you're watching this, please leave us a like, subscribe to not only my channel, but also Jonathan's channel. Also link in the description of this video. Leave some comments here, leave some hearts and all the nice stuff you can do if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch. Yeah, I'm streaming to Twitch now as well, and Twitter, so that this little show we are doing here spreads a bit. Hold on, I need to find the correct window here, my crowded desktop, which is this one, hopefully. No, it's not. This one? Yeah,
I'm thinking today I'm going to do some I'm going to be looking for some signals on the RSS slingshot on the on the lower time frames as well today. See if
sounds very good. Of course, if we get here some live signals from our indicators and these are deemed to be good signals, meaning they are in a nice zone of confluence, we're also going to trade them live on our VX trading account, but more on that later should we get some live signals. I want to start here going over the charts I'm looking at with the market equilibrium indicator. I think, since last week was the 23rd. So in total, we had here a bunch of new signals on the Bitcoin 15-minute chart that worked out very well. So these three trading signals I traded, I was sadly stopped out because I put my stop to break even on the way up here before the slam down really came here. And then we had really the mother of all buy signals down here. So that was
that was a really good one.
That was a really, really good one, followed by these two sell signal clusters, which I think also were very, very good ones. I actually started automating the strategy on Bitcoin. So whenever there is an alert message popping up here on TradingView, so one of these alerts here is firing, for example, for Bitcoin, there's a webhook connection to the software I'm using here called Wunder Trading, where then a trade is opened. You can see here, for example, this is with a profit of $466, the long trade in Bitcoin. So the one down here that was then closed when the next short signal appeared here, which I'm currently still in. So that one shorted here at 60,283. However, I noticed that with my current subscription level here on Wunder Trading, I can only trade I can only open one trade at a time. So what happened then is that I open a trade here, but not on the next signal, at least not in an automated way. So I think I need to upgrade my subscription here a little bit. I think here probably to the Pro one, which cost $40 a month to be able to also trade these clusters so that I have one entry on that sell signal, one entry on this sell signal. Pretty much, I mean, really, really good signals here on Bitcoin, I think. The indicator timed especially the bottom of the market here almost perfectly. I if I wouldn't have traded in an automatic way, this type of signal would have given me a little bit the shivers, because it felt like, grabbing into a falling knife a little bit. But, this is what position management, of course, then is also for. I think you cannot see it like this. I have to move it a little bit in order to see it better. Yeah, that's on Bitcoin. So pretty cool stuff going on there at the moment. Ripple was difficult to trade. Also, obviously, a lot of volatility on this one. Saw a bunch of good signals, buy signals, one sell signals, extremely difficult to trade, especially this one here. That gave you almost no opportunity to get out of a trade. And you can see here very well, in my opinion, again, how important it is to really look, especially on the very low time frame. So this is a 2-minute time frame I'm looking at here. To look at, I need to zoom out. Why does it delete my support and resistance channels now? Hello? Well, there was a channel of resistance exactly here. And you can see this is also where the market turned around again. This is why I always say, like, be careful with the signals that are kind of in between somewhere. They can be very good, but if you trade them, I would always try to trade them really with a very tight stop loss, because you can see something like this, but the market rebounds. As I said, I think you can see it also without really being drawn on the chart, a pretty good zone of resistance, and this is where the market turned to the downside. You could have, of course, also here, as it is very often held onto the position, and then you probably would have gotten out here at the sell signal now, which was in a pretty good spot. So we have to see here a little bit if this cluster here holds at the moment. Overall, Ripple, not easy to trade. What was really well was Dogecoin on the 2-minute chart. I mean, here also almost all the signals perfectly timed. This one a little bit difficult here, but see again here a little bit in nowhere's land, pretty much in the middle of this, between the support and resistance. I traded this one anyway. I actually scaled myself into this trade, so bought here, bought there, and then got out around here, around this area again. Currently also in a long trade here, where we have to see, for this one I moved the stop loss to break even, because I'm not so sure if we are really going above this level of resistance, quite massive here, between basically 0.1005 and 0.103. Popcat also, as always, pretty adventurous to trade, pretty good signals there as well. But yeah, you have to be really, this is a really exciting trading. It's very often that you get into a trade and it immediately runs into your direction, but you have to be very fast also on this meme coin to adapt your stop loss, at least to put your stop loss to break even, because it's very erratic. Like, you have this immediate moves then into your direction just to reverse immediately again. So really, really hard one to trade, but very rewarding if you catch the trades. And recently I added here Cardano as well, this one on the 5-minute charts, because one of the community members from the Good, the Bad, and the Bitcoin. So this one goes out to AJ, who said, like, hey, Dick, I'm trading this one on the 5 minutes, and it works really well. And I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Almost all the signals we saw here the last days were really spot on. Oh God, there's like can you hear the drilling in the background here?
No, I don't think so. I can't hear anything. So your neighbors are still on with the drilling. They've been going on.
They're like renovating the office space, and they've been doing for 4 weeks. And whenever I want to record something or go live, they start the drilling. But it's good if you cannot hear this one. Just fine with me. So that's in a nutshell from my side. As I said, I'm currently working on further automation. So what I'm aiming to do here is to continue trading this on Bitcoin and kind of not simulate, really show how is this indicator behaving if you do always in the market strategy, meaning whenever there's a buy signal, you buy. Whenever there's a sell signal, you close the long position and you go into a short position. And then over the next couple of weeks and months, we can evaluate, is this actually in real time a viable strategy to trade the indicator with? I think it isn't. I think you need this addition of zones of confluence, for example, by adding support and resisting zones there. But let's give it a try. Why not? The first trades for sure worked out very nicely there already. And that's always a nice thing if you start testing stuff. Yeah, that's it from my side.
Nice. All right, let me share my screen here. I'm currently looking for, and also I've just created a promo code for the indicator. And so guys, if you're watching this, there's a promo code which is DIRK50. So it's DIRK50. So you can go into the I'm sure there's supposed to be a link to the WAP page, and in there you'll be able to use that code for the RLZ Slingshot, and it's a 50% discount for only 2 users. So only 2 people are able to get that 50% discount. It's only for the first month, but you can select either 1 month subscription, 3 month subscription, or a full year. If you go with the yearly, you are going to, let's see if I can do the math here.
Is that correct? DIRK50?
Yes, exactly. Okay. So on a yearly subscription, you're going to be able to get this indicator for about, if I'm not completely mistaken, for about, let's see. Yeah, it's only going to be like around $10, between $10 and $15 a month if you buy it on the yearly plan with that code. So it's basically free, $10 a month, and you get this instead of paying the $49 a month. You get it for $10 a month. So it's DIRK50. It's right on the screen here. So it's only for 2 people, and so the idea here is that it's only for you guys who are watching right now. After the live stream, I'm going to deactivate it. So if it's 2 people watching this right now, you can get the 50% discount, and then I will deactivate it after the live stream. So we can see here on USD on the your USD on the 1 minute. This is on the 5 minute. Let's go on the 1 minute here. Now it's very messy here on the 1 minute, of course, but I just want to show you that when you have decent trends here, you're able to get in on some pretty good trades here. Now, I'm not sure if current price action is what I want to see. Basically, what you want to see when you have a trend is with the slingshot indicator, you want the base of that trend to be the moving averages. So as soon as you start seeing something like this, I mean, you still have a good trend here. It's still a good trend. If you remove the indicator, that's still, higher highs and higher lows. But with the indicator, you want to make sure that you have a trend where the lows are closer and in better agreement with the moving averages. So we have one here, for example. That's a good one where you have the base, the lower part of this channel, or the base is the EMA cloud. Now, of course, you can go in and adjust the EMA cloud and add whatever you want. In this case, you might want to add the 100 EMAs. You're trading with the 250 and the 100, and then you'll see that you create a broader cloud base and you give more room for error. So when the indicator is done loading, you'll see that now you added the 100, and now you have a broader base, and you give you give price action more room for error. So if you look at these long signals right here, there's going to be good signals and there's going to be bad signals. But this signal right here is a very, very good signal. So it's important that you learn to recognize the good signals. And that's why I have a full course, a 19 video long course, several hours long, going through every setting of the indicator, going through different styles on how to use it in swing trading and scalping and everything. It's a complete, you could say, a complete systematic trading, a complete trading system for trend following traders. Now, with that said, you can't trade this automatically. You need to understand price action and market structure to be able to determine the good trades. This one is, in my opinion, a very good signal because you come down into the long reload zone right here and you print a bullish engulfing candle. The way I would trade this with my current approach is just enter at the candle close, maybe even wait for a break and retest of the 50%, because you can see here that there is actually somewhat of a resistance area right here. So for the next candle, you close that one right above the 50 or right on the 50. This to me confirms that we have a signal. We come down, we retest the 0.618, and there's buying pressure with that wick. So on this candle, I could enter stops at the actual stop loss of the indicator, and then we want to TP at the FTA, which is up here for a 1.44 hour trade. We also, using our discretionary abilities we have as traders, we can also put our TP here. This is all determined on your personal win rate when trading this. We all gonna have different win rates because of mental errors. We're all different, right? So either if you are the type of person that likes to see your winners run, this is a good level because 1.44 hour on the scalp is very high. But then what I would do is probably exit here for your 0.67. And as you can see, it goes straight up to that original TP. And the interesting part about this is there's so many ways to use this indicator as a way to determine good entries. And then when you have a good entry, you can, take the chance of seeing this winner, this becoming a big winner. So if we add more TPs here, we can see which of these TPs are actually getting hit. And then when you do your journal reviewing, it's very easy with this indicator to see which of these TPs are actually getting hit. As you can see, if TP1 are getting hit 60% of the time, but TP4 is only getting hit, 5% of the time, well, you know that you should be closer to TP1. Looking at this example right here, we see that, yeah, it would have hit stop loss around this area. And going back to the original setup, we can add the high before stop loss getting hit, go back using the replay tool to the signal. And we know that that level up here, that's the highest price came before hitting stop loss. And then we can look at the indicator when it's finished loading, what TP that is. That TP is around the TP3. So there's a lot of ways you can use this indicator as well to determine what's the optimum exit point of a system like this. But you have to understand that when you're trading on the lower time frames, I like to go with the philosophy that you got to take every piece of profit that you get, you take it as soon as possible. Because a lot of times in scalping, when you have a good momentum signal, and this is pretty much what that is, a momentum signal, you'll see a move in the direction of the trend quite quickly. And in my experience, it's that first initial move that you want to capitalize on, because the more you wait, the longer time you wait, there's a risk associated to that, because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. But if we see profits on the table, we want to take that when scalping. When swing trading, it's something different, because then we can have a wider stop loss, bigger room for error, and we can look at key levels much higher and see if that trade can run. But on the lower time frames, you want to probably just capitalize on this initial move that we had right here, and then that pushed it upside, because after this move is when things become a bit crazy, with price action all over the place. But as you can see on these lows and on the bounces, there's a very clear first initial moves right here, and that's the idea that I want to be trading here on the lower time frames. We can go to another pair that I like trading with this indicator, which is Euro NCD. And on Euro NCD, we use...
Can I just one? I think this is really important, but what you just said, but I want to highlight that one more time, that when you're on the lower time frame, like Jonathan just said, you have very often this first initial move into your direction. And after this, the market kind of concentrates on new things again, and this is exactly the move you want to capitalize on. This is what I meant earlier when I was, for example, looking at Popcat or here Doge. You can see that here too. You have this buy signal down here, then you have initial move, and then new things happen again. Here on the sell side, initial move, and then you have a sideways range or a very mild bearish structure here. So this first move you need to capitalize on, and you can do that either by what I like to do is I set my stop loss then to break even for a small profit because I want to let it run, or like Jonathan says, you have to take your chips off the table. This is really different than what you would do in swing trading normally. In swing trading, you wouldn't really care about those moves because you're looking at the overall structure. In scalping, you're looking at this first initial move. Very different also from your mindset you need to have there.
We actually have one person just redeemed that code, so we have one left. So one left of that one, and then it's
congratulations.
gone.
I think that was a very wise decision, really.
This opportunity is I'm not going to do 50% discounts very often. Probably not a lot going forward. This is more to to kick it off as we're doing the second stream with this approach. We have a beautiful signal here on UNCD. Now, what's very important here is, and also, you know what? I want to tell you guys something about a story, quite a horrible story. It happened yesterday with a member of our community. So, this is an important lesson for everyone who is members of in my community, any community. There's a lot of impersonators out there. Okay, so what happens in my community, in my Discord community, is people come in with my name. And in the community, they come in and then they join my community because it's free, so it's easy for them to get in. And then they change name to my name, and then they start sending DMs out to a lot of members. Right? Most people recognize a scam message from me. It's like, oh, hi, how's trading going? Do you want to join my copy trading signal group? Send money to this broker, and it happened yesterday with a member, and he lost a significant amount of money. He thought that impersonator was me, and I apparently the scammer told him that we have this copy trading group going, and he has to transfer money over to Binance to join that, and promised like 30 percentage return a month or something crazy like that. And yeah, unfortunately, he lost a lot of money doing that. So I just want to give you guys a warning to always be very careful. And what I've started doing is I've made sure that I'm never going to DM anyone first on Discord, So if you get a DM from me on Discord, it's most likely not me. The way I'm going to contact you is by tagging you in the channels or making sure that we initiate the contact through the public channels in Discord where you're able to verify that it's me. And so be very careful. And if there's going to be if I reach out to you with a opportunity that is too good to be true, I would say request a video call with me. I think that's a good way to try to verify that it's actually me. If I'm telling you that you're going to become a millionaire in 2 days, that it's not me. If I'm promising you even 10% return per month, that's not going to be me. And if I tell you to transfer money over to an exchange, that's absolutely not me. Everything I do is via the WA homepage. So I want to be very clear with that. And it's just horrible to see that people fall victim for this, because it must be horrible to you have that feeling of, all right, I'm going to be making some money here, and then it's just all gone. That sucks.
I think really the rule of thumb is here, same for me. I'm not on Discord, but on Telegram, and it sadly, of course, happens there as well. If we would never contact you first with a DM, if you contact us per DM and then we answer, that's something else, of course, But if I am writing out of nowhere, or somebody who seems to be me out of nowhere, it's not me. And especially I would, and same as Jonathan, never ask for you to send money somewhere.
So this signal here, I think this is a good signal. Why is it a good signal? Well, first you have to look at market structure. What is market structure telling us here? So first we had this move down, okay? And this is on 5 minutes. We had this move to the downside. And then at the bottom, which is also, if you zoom out, it's actually marked as a major support level. So here you have a high time frame major support. Euro NCD comes down, hits that major support. And now this is on the Forex market, but this works exactly the same with altcoins and Bitcoin. It's just that there might be slight different approach that you have to take, but the signals work exactly the same across all markets. And as you know, technical analysis is pretty much a universal tool in the financial markets. But you have a high time frame level here. You go on the 4 hour, you go down to the to the 1 hour here, you see that there's a range forming here. You can even go down to the 15-minute. This looks pretty good. You know, you have it's a range forming down to the 5-minute. And here's what I'm talking about. You got these lows right here. One low, you know, move down, consolidation, move to the upside, move down, consolidation, move to the upside. And where the signal actually comes in on the 5-minute is above this consolidation. So there's been one break and retest, and there's another break and retest using this same area as support. And that's where the signal comes in. I would say that this is a very good signal because it's according to the higher time frames. We've already used the high time frame support, and we have a low time frame break and retest right here. The way I would trade this is enter on the candle close, probably have a little slightly wider stop loss than what the indicator is suggesting. But as you can see, the stop loss of the indicator would have worked very well here as well. But I'm more towards the idea of using a little bit wider stop loss. And I would actually have TP'd at these highs around this area. That's a 0.88 R trade. And you will see that price comes up, hits that level, big move to the downside, but then an explosive move to the upside. Now, these explosive moves to the upside doesn't come along very often, right? But that would be a 2R trade. But I would argue and I would recommend that you take profit as early as possible when you're on the lower time frames. So that's a good signal because it aligns with the higher time frames. It aligns with the market structure. This short signal is, in my opinion, not a good signal because it just feels like it's within a range. Same here. I don't like this because it's within a range. I don't like this short signal as well because it's actually a break and retest to the upside. So what you're doing, if you're shorting here, you're basically going to be shorting a break and retest that should be a long. The reason that this is not a long is obviously because of the EMAs, because it's determining the overall trend. But then you can go up and you can look at, for example, a short signal like this one. Well, I think that's a fairly interesting short signal. Now, obviously, you see that the momentum here is insanely strong, and you would not be able to get in on that one. But here you see price showing you a clear downtrend, and price has already broken this area. You have a strong reaction to that level. It perfectly touched the 20 EMA and the 50. I think this right here would be a decent short, a scalp short. You could even have your stop loss all the way up here in case there's a retest, and then just exit at around these levels for a 0.5 R trade. But you wouldn't have gotten filled on this because you see the gap here on the 5-minute. It's there's probably going to be a lot of slippage if you enter on that candle close. But it's just an idea of what a good signal looks like. Here's another good signal. Even though this is a range, you don't know that it's a range when the signal appears. What you do know, however, is that the overall trend is fairly bearish. Now, we're going to ignore the higher time frames here, because if you go out to the higher time frames, I would say it's actually retesting the mid zone of a major support area. So ignoring the fact that we're at support on the higher time frames, on the 5-minute, this trend looks very good. We've had a strong impulse move to the downside, and it looks like price potentially wants to continue lower. We have support, resistance up here. And the thing with a trade like this, even though this can be a range trade, even though we can develop a range like this, we can still make money on a signal like this by entering on the candle close, stops above the wick right here, and TP at these lows. That's almost 1 R, and it goes straight down to TP, and then the range is developing. So at the beginning of a range, I would say that when it's the second retest of this support, and it's only going to be the second retest of resistance, that's a good time to enter signals like this. If you get a signal here, I would not like to enter that, because then the range has developed and now it could just go either way. So yeah, that's a couple of examples of setup. Now, the thing here is, on the lower time frames, you're going to get a lot of signals. So using the built-in alert function might not be a great idea, because you're going to get, you know, probably if you do it across different pairs, you're going to get hundreds of different alerts on TradingView within a day. So when trading with this indicator on the lower time frames, and if you want to be trading multiple pairs, you can just have you can do it like this, have 4 multiple screens, and then have 1 pair on each screen, put the indicator on, and then monitor all of these 4 screens. And when there's a signal, especially on the 5-minute, the signal will appear, but the signal is not confirmed until the 5-minute candle is closing. So you might see a signal appearing, but you're only going to take the trade if it actually closes like that. So this is the way that I like to scalp using this indicator. I have multiple screens, and I try to monitor at max 8 different markets at the same time. So 4 markets on each on 2 screens, 4 on each screens, and then I'll look for a signal. One way that I also can do this, and now it gets a little bit complicated, but I explained this in the course. But one cool thing that we can do is we can search here for scalping. I'm no alert. Is that the log? I'm on the log. Okay, so slingshot. Yeah, okay, so here is my slingshot signals. And I should have... okay, I don't have them anymore. I think I might have removed them. But what I did was I had alerts that says scalping, okay? So what I do is, for all the 8 different pairs that I have alerts for the long and short signals for each pair. And then what I do is I simply activate the signals, activates the alert during my trading session.
Yep.
And when I'm done with the trading session, I type in here in the search bar, I type in scalping, and then I select all the alerts and I deactivate them. So I'm not going to get alerts throughout the day. I'm only going to get alerts in my trading session. And this is extremely powerful, because that means you can now be scalping on the lower time frames without actually monitoring the charts before you have an alert. And that is really, really powerful and an effective way of trading, I would say.
Or wake up in the morning to 100 new alert messages.
Yeah, I mean, I do have all the alerts on the 4-hour, so we can go in here and we can actually look at the maybe I've had some recent alerts. Yeah, you see the log here that there's a lot of long signals on the 1 hour and the 4-hour. Here, for example, is a recent short signal on Ethereum versus Bitcoin. You can look at that one. This is on the 4-hour. I can add the indicator here. So this is based on so I click that one. And that's a short signal on Ethereum. I would say that it's not the best signal, but it's also not the worst signal. Yeah. It looks like it's a possible short here on Ethereum. We can look at the next one. This is US30 in the Forex market. It's a long signal, and you can clearly see that this is a bullish market. This is a long, and that's not a bad signal. I could definitely look at this and say, you know what? Even though this is not a perfect signal according to the RLZ method or the slingshot, this is still a decent signal, because if you look at the overall support here, it's testing support. It's breaking out. This is definitely a trade that I could take, enter on the close of that candle, stops around this area, and then just for my trading style, I'm going to TP at half an hour. Look at that. It's just, that is not a big move. I'm almost certain that it's going to hit that TP. Almost certain. So this is such a powerful way of you scanning the markets as well. I can go through all of these trades. NCD USD looks almost the same as US30. It's a bullish market. It's an uptrend. It's hitting support, and we get multiple long signals right here. And all of these signals would be alerts in trading view. So it's also a market scanning tool. And I think actually one of the most powerful aspects of this indicator is the fact that it's also a market scanning tool. You don't have to really scan the markets yourself if you're trading the system. You can just look at the long signals and look at these signals. They're not bad. You know, this one, all of these indicating support. Now, of course, here, I guess here you would have been stopped out unless you have a very wide stop loss. But 1, 2, 3, 4 clusters of alerts, and only one is a bad one.
I think the one in the middle is definitely one I would have traded. I mean, it's like directly at the support zone there, and you have a bullish engulfing candle there. by the looks of it. Beautiful trade, really very nice trade. Now, one thing I think you said just now when it comes to scalping, very important. You said like you have like 8 different pairs on your screen that you are scalping. So especially if you're new to this, and this is especially true for scalping, try to concentrate not on like 100 or 200 pairs, or try to monitor on the scalping levels with alarms and so on, everything there is to trade. You're not going to do yourself a favor with this. I really would suggest, maybe even if you're completely new to this, stick to 1 or 2 pairs. It doesn't really matter if it's cryptocurrencies, Forex, or stocks, or whatever, tickles your fancy, so to say. But it's important to kind of also get a feel, like, how is this pair I'm monitoring with an indicator behaving? So there's a lot going on discretionary level, and you're only going to get this kind of feeling for the market you want to trade if you intensely monitor it. And you cannot do this, I think, especially also in the beginning, you cannot even do this with 4 or 5 or 6 markets. So maybe concentrate on just a handful of markets. For cryptocurrencies, for sure, Bitcoin, always the good choice just because it's liquid. Maybe take one altcoin if you want to do that on Forex. Look at euro dollar, then maybe choose another pair that's a bit not so closely correlated to euro dollar, something like pound sterling versus yen, for example, or Aussie Kiwi or something like this. And and don't be sad if you miss out on a lot of signals. Because always remember, trading is actually very often about the trades you do not take. Be very picky with your tradings. It's always easy, in hindsight, to look at the chart and say like, oh, this was a good trade. This should have been a good trade. But as you just demonstrated, when you get the signal, of course, you do not know how is the market going to behave. You have a hunch, of course. You think it's going up or down depending on the signal, but you do not know. And if you don't trade because the signal is not convincing enough for you, the market structure is like contrary to the signal, for example, do not take the trade. And even if a trade would have been a correct one, also do not be sad that you didn't take it and do stuff like, oh, next time I'm going to double up then because I want to make up for the profit I was missing out on. This is a secure road to disaster. And I'm really talking multiple times in my past from my own experience here. The mind can play terrible tricks on you, or you can play terrible tricks on yourself, convincing you that you should do other stuff when in reality, you just need to be a little bit picky. It's okay. It's okay to also monitor the markets for a while, for example, with a slingshot indicator, until you get a feeling like, hey, this is a good signal now. This is a bad signal. As Jonathan just said, he has like a lot of course material that you can watch, but you also need to digest that, obviously. First, you're not going to become an expert trader just by watching 5 hours of video.
I think there's one thing that there's one thing that's going to help you in trading, and that well, actually, it's 2 things, but in theory, it's one concept that will, if you understand this concept deeply, you'll be able to trade any system. You'll be able to determine what's a good signal on any indicator if it's based on price action. And that is understanding market structure. Okay, understanding market structure is so important, whether you're using the slingshot or the market equilibrium indicator, because with your indicator, you're looking at price comes up for test resistance, whether that is resistance in a trend or resistance in a range doesn't really matter a lot. What matters is what happens when price hits that resistance. How is price reacting to that resistance? And if you're trading on, let's say, the 15-minute, maybe you'll see a 1 candle rejection of resistance. Going into the 1 minute, you will see most likely uptrend, consolidation, break below. And that is the foundation of technical analysis. If you look at, go all the way back to Charles Dow, creator of the Dow theory, you'll see that it's exactly the same things that he talked about. You have that accumulation phase where the smart investors and the knowledgeable investors, they come in because they now know that we have information that retail doesn't have. We are accumulating this asset right now. That will look on the chart. You will see that as an accumulation range, and when that accumulation rate breaks to the upside, that is the public participation phase, and that is when the public realize that, oh, Wall Street is in and we're running. Now it's time for me to get in. That's the FOMO of the public coming in. And then when everyone has joined the trend, they train to the upside. Everyone is bullish. Everyone caught that FOMO fever. They're into the trend. You hit that resistance, and now smart money and Wall Street, or whatever you want to call it, they say, all right, that's it. We made our money. Now it's time to sell to retail, joining that move to the upside, and that will look at it. You will then see a distribution range. This happens on all time frames. This is the structure of the market. So if you understand that you can watch these signals form on the lower time frames with a break and retest of that range at resistance, if you understand that structure, then trading this will be simple. You see, range, move, range, move, range, move, range. If you understand this structure and you can trade based on this, then you understand basically, I would say, how to trade 99% of all the systems and indicators out there. But you have to have that information. You have to have that foundation, and you're never going to get that foundation without studying price action, having screen time, and watching people like me and Dirk explaining these concepts. But more important, you need to get out in the market and need to study this for yourself. There's one pair that I always go to study price action and study market structure, and that is Euro NCD. Look at this. This is Euro NCD. For anyone who understands market structure and price action, you quickly well, now I heard something.
Oh God.
That was loud. But yeah, this right here is one of the most cleanest pairs in the Forex market when it comes to market structure analysis. I would recommend that you watch this on the 4-hour and the daily, and you study Euro NCD, and you look at this from the perspective of high time frame accumulation and distribution. Let me give you a quick example. This is high time frame distribution. This is high time frame accumulation. This is high time frame distribution. What happens between these zones? You're trending. You have a trend. Very clean, clear, strong moves. If you're able to accumulate, here, accumulate long positions here, and accumulate short positions here, you'll be able to catch some massive, massive moves. And the key to trading is to not accumulate this long term, but actually recognize when this trend is forming before it's actually forming. So yeah, Euro NCD, study market structure on that one, and you'll have a good foundation for trading any markets, I would say.
Alrighty. Last but not least, maybe we should have another quick look on Bitcoin, like the longer term chart. Let me quickly maybe switch over. So when we were talking last week, we were here, and you guys remember I said I kind of have for me, this mini bearish structure here is still going to be playing and going to continue until we make a new higher high, which has to be above this last structure. So prices closing ideally somewhere between 70 and 74,000 US dollars. Until this doesn't happen, I am expecting that we're going to see one further low here somewhere in the vicinity of between 48 and maybe 52,000 US dollars. And if we see what happened since last Friday, we again were rejected here at the 20 within the bull market support band here, so between the yellow and the red line. And currently, it looks like that, in my opinion, we are a little bit on the way down. I wouldn't trade this. I said this multiple times as a swing trade. But it kind of feeds again into my theory with September, historically speaking, always being not so good when it comes to for cryptocurrency. The worst average month for Bitcoin, I think minus 4.8% in price decline, historically speaking, over the last 11 years. So we could be in for another leg down here. The beautiful thing is you do not need to make a guess. All you need to watch here really is, again, what is the current market structure, lower lows, lower highs. This is all you really need to know. Means we are in a mini bear market, and as long as we don't break over the last lower high, or the market turns around above the last lower low, this is the market structure that we're dealing with at the moment. So in my opinion, really, if you are in for the long ride, are these good levels to accumulate? Yes, they are, because the upside potential, as we many times said, is much, much higher than the downside potential. This could, of course, be invalidated if we really fall below 40,000 US dollars, but I don't see that at the moment, at least. If you are swing trading, there might be the chance that you can get lower prices than this for another long position. As I said, I'm not trading a short position because I think it's very dangerous, because I'm expecting as of late October that the kind of bull market frenzy starts. Could be earlier, we never know. I mean, we had a new all-time high before the halving. This is also the first time this happened, so you never know with Bitcoin. And in a potentially very bullish market, I don't want to swing trade on the short side. Something completely different, of course, for day trading, like with the 50-minute charts and my market equilibrium indicator. So what do you think at the moment, Jonathan? You have a different opinion? You think it's a good time now to swing trade long, or are you also eyeing lower levels?
Well, I don't know. I think what I'm watching is looking at this. It's very difficult, actually. I mean, we're in the range here, and I guess the fact that we are at resistance, we could be viewing this as, just like I explained, we have an uptrend, and looking at the way the market moves and the way the market kind of functions in the way I explained earlier when we talk about the Dow theory, on paper, or I guess on screen, this looks like a distribution range. But I think the longer we stay in this range, the higher the potential of this being accumulation before breakout. I think if this is truly distribution, we should start moving down and testing, touching these 40K region quite soon. Looking at the 30K level, that looks like the perfect retest as a high time frame, long term level. But so is 40K. But if you look at this as high time frame accumulation, then a move down here. But then we start talking about bear market territory. We're down around 50%. That would probably be a new bear market move. And looking at the overall macroeconomics right now, I don't really see us going into a bear market anytime soon. I feel like, and I'm just thinking about the Fed coming out and saying it's time to lower interest rates. I have a difficult time seeing Bitcoin performing poorly in the risk on environment, and I think we might potentially head into a risk on environment in the next few months, perhaps. And if that happens, then Bitcoin is going to break out. There's no, in my mind, the way I know that the markets work, there's no question about that. If S&P starts rallying, then Bitcoin is going to follow. That's just how the risk sentiment works at this point. Hopefully sooner than later, because we might break down, in the next few weeks, if we're just going to be trading in here without any major development. So for swing longs, I mean, I'm long Bitcoin and I have no problem in adding to my positions long term. As a trader, I'm not, it's in a no trade zone for me. This is on a weekly, of course, but we can go down to the 4 hour, and I would still say, actually, let's go to this shot here, and we can open up the 4 hour. As a trader, this is I did actually take a trade here long, and that went straight to stop loss. We talked about this trade last week, where I wanted to see a break and retest of this level. We got that break and retest, but I got stopped out. I think that's still an interesting trade. Again, like I said, I'm not interested in shorting Bitcoin, but I feel like it's a very difficult situation here for Bitcoin. I don't really have a good read on it, so I feel like for me it's better to take a step back and just assess the situation.
Yeah, I think, and that's a very valid reason and a valid thing to do. Like, if you don't know what to make out of a market structure currently or market phase, it's totally okay as a trader to stand by the sidelines. This is why I said earlier, you need to be picky about your trades. Don't trade just for the sake of clicking and for the adrenaline maybe that a trade brings into you, or the dopamine kick, that you are searching for, but treat it more like a business decision. Yeah? As a businessman would, or businesswoman, would you take this trade at the moment or not? And if the answer is no, for whatever reason, well, and you don't take the trade. You're not going to get poorer or just on missing out on a bunch of potentially bad trades. You're probably going to get richer long term by doing that, because you're more concentrating on the good trades. One thing you said just now, risk on sentiment. I mean, this is something I've been talking about, I think, for the past 2 years almost now. This coincidation of this confluence, it is actually, of the Fed lowering interest rates. As a matter of fact, I expected it, if you watch like things from a year ago, maybe, I said I expected it already for May 2024. Obviously, that didn't come. It's probably going to be the next meeting in, I think, 23rd of September it is. And to lower interest rate. And in this risk on market, risk on means, if you don't know that terms, that investors are looking for assets that potentially have a higher return than the no risk asset. The no risk asset, usually for institutional investors at least, being buying the US Treasury bond. Yeah, at the moment you get like 5% for that, or 5.25%, something around that a year. But as interest rates come down, they are going to look for assets to diversify, because it's not enough to get like 4 or 3 or 2 or 1 or 0%, as we had for a long time now as well. So usually the money is going into stocks, for example, because on average, the return on investment is around, I think, 8 to 10% if you invest in the S&P 500 per year. Obviously, that is more attractive than getting 2 or 1% out of a treasury bond. And in the same category nowadays, we have especially Bitcoin. I'm not going to say crypto. I'm going to specifically say Bitcoin here. And this in an environment where you now, for the first time, have a good vehicle with a Bitcoin spot ETF, where really institutional investors, so I'm talking about hedge funds, I'm talking also about corporations, Apple, Tesla, and so on and so forth, that can, in a good regulated environment, that was the problem before, it was not regulated. And as a company, as a pension fund, as a hedge fund, you need a regulated vehicle. Otherwise, you're not allowed to put your investors' money into the market. And this is there now. And we've seen net now $20 billion US flowing into the spot ETF. Now you might say, yeah, Dirk, but price hasn't done much. Is not going up that much. Yeah, that's true, because at the same time we have money from the future ETF that was there before the spot ETF, from GBTC, I think it's called, Grayscale, where investors are selling this, and they are still sitting on 100,000 or 120,000 Bitcoins, down from 300,000 Bitcoins, by the way. So the money is selling there, going into the ETFs, and once that is done, I think there's going to be something really like a demand shock, or a supply shock, actually it is, because there are just not, at this price level, enough Bitcoin, enough people that are willing to part with their Bitcoins. And this is when you're going to see things going to the upside very, very fast. And believe me, once we reach those levels of 90, $100,000 in Bitcoin, things are going to get really, really crazy. You'll see days where we swing to the upside or downside by $15,000 or $20,000. It's going to be crazy. And I'm of course, I'm always questioning myself. Is there something I do not see in the whole puzzle long term right now? Is there something I'm obviously missing out? Something bad that can happen apart from I don't know, World War III, or a new pandemic, or stuff like this that you cannot influence, so black swan events. But other than this, I don't see a recession coming up in the USA. Even if it comes out, okay, we have the environment of lowering interest rates again, which is going to pour liquidity into risk on assets long term. Yeah, not saying it's going to happen next week. So, what could possibly go wrong? Really, I don't know. I think like a year down the road, things are going to look different. I expect like the top of a market to be somewhere around maybe between October to December next year. But until then, I mean, it's really the upside potential is so much higher than the risk you have to take there.
Definitely.
All right, good. That's enough monologue for me.
Good. No, man, it's been a good live stream. I do enjoy this, going through the slingshot link and also looking at your market equilibrium indicators. I think it's very interesting to see the development of that one, and I'm looking at the signals of that one as well. And it's going to be the only problem I have is time. I wish we had more time.
Yeah.
That's the
Tell
thing.
me about it. Tell me about it. Really,
we only had 24 hours a day, and it's like, you know, I'm time blocking everything I have to do each day, and it's like, I don't have. I mean, and you also need to have time for yourself and time for your family. You know, it's
that's important. I always have to laugh a little bit when I see like videos of influencers who pretend like, oh, I was like hustling 20 hours a day. Say, okay, if you're 20, maybe you are still on a physical level able to do that, but also only for so long. And believe me, once you have a family, your kids, your wife, your husband, whatever, they are going to demand, rightfully so, also that time, and you should spend the time with them. It's more.
I mean, when you're 20, you should be working hard. Then when you get kids and family, you should kind of like, I'd say, be in a position where you're also able to slow down. And I think I am in an environment where I am able to slow down, but I think also I want more, you know what I mean? Like I want to do more. I have more ideas. There's so much things that I want to accomplish, but it's all about prioritizing as well, you know. Important to prioritize the right things.
It is.
Sometimes I find myself sitting hours working on something that I'm like, this is probably not a good idea, you know, like.
But you know, that's the way it is. You know, you have like kind of 10 ideas which you think are great, and then in the long run, 8 of those ideas turn out to, you know, be not very good ideas. But it's okay as long as you are left with the one idea that really brings you forward for whatever those ideas are, be it trading, be it something in your personal life. This is how creativity works by the end of the day. It's trial and fail. Doing always the same stuff, you know, and expecting a different result. Wasn't it Einstein or something? That's like the definition of insanity. I think it was Einstein, no? Yeah,
it was.
Good. Yeah, thanks a lot again for joining here, Jonathan. It was a pleasure as always. Guys, if you haven't done so, I believe there might be still one for the grabs.
Yeah, there's one more. There's one left.
The RLZ slingshot.
I'm gonna keep it open about an hour after the live stream. So I'm gonna keep it open about an hour, and then I'll close it.
So grab it, 50% discount. You've seen it's a really, I'm not even going to call it an indicator, honestly speaking, because it's a full-blown trading suite. And for that price, it is a bargain, guys. So go take that offer, and I think you're going to look back and be very happy that you took the opportunity. We're going to see each other latest next week again for hopefully what was then again a great week of trading. Leave us a like, subscribe to the channel, do the same for Jonathan, and all that is left to say is goodbye.